I'm Kate, the Swiftie.
And I'm ringing in the new year. Not so Sam.
Yeah.
What? Whoa.
I mean, I guess, yeah, when this comes out at midnight on New Year's Day.
Ta-da!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Or for our Californians, happy almost New Year. Taylor's been out and about. The Chiefs played Christmas Day, so Travis had some extra time off. So they were bouncing around New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Did a little dinner date with Jack Antonoff and his wife, Margaret Qualley.
Nice little quality of life.
A little quality time.
Quality dinner.
Where'd they go? Do you know?
New York. They were in New York. I don't know. I don't usually pay much attention to where they go because I don't really, it's weird. There's a whole bunch of conversation on social media about this where it's kind of weird that people are like, oh, Taylor and Travis are probably going to go here. So I'm going to stand outside and wait for them to walk past me and make a TikTok about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
that is kind of weird.
I think that's kind of weird, but if that's how you choose to spend your time, that's
Don't.
your choice.
Yeah. For those of you at home listening or watching, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's a little weird. It's
The more
a
you
little
know.
Do what you want. Do what you want. Don't do that.
Do you,
but do what you want.
that feels a little bit
Just don't.
like
You don't have to.
maybe you're becoming a paparazzi, but hey. And then the next night, they were out again because it was her friend Ashley's birthday.
Ashley Tisdale.
No, Ashley Avenue.
Okay. Who?
It's the blonde that she's always at the football games with. She's
Okay.
a professional stylist.
Okay.
Emma Stone introduced them.
Oh.
So they've been friends for a long time. And celebrated her birthday in New York City. Ashley posted a cute picture. Travis was in a full-on red outfit. We were calling him Santa Kelce. And his outfit matched the red of her lubes. So, big cute little matching outfits all weekend. Just very quality time post-holidays in New York City.
There you go.
I got some Taylor Swift stuff for Christmas.
You did?
What'd you get?
I got a Taylor Swift guitar ornament.
Ooh.
And
Wait. The koi fish guitar.
the koi fish guitar, which I didn't know about.
Same. Don't know about that.
Very
either.
cool looking. And I got some Taylor Swift inspired pens. Which good because this one's running out of ink.
There you go.
I figured you could use a pen for when you had to write us those notes.
Are they
Wrap
ink,
it
gel, or quill pens?
I think they're just ink.
They're just ink.
Interesting.
He's not ready for glitter pens yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be ready for glitter pens.
I would say that's probably accurate. But maybe a little, 15 more seasons.
Actually, I think this is the third year in a row that I've received. Maybe the fourth year in a row.
I always get you a Taylor ornament.
I have 4 Taylor Swift ornaments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw this guitar one at Gus and Ruby, my favorite store downtown. And I was like, I know what Jason's getting for Christmas. And it's
Good
a big
choice.
deal. It was a big deal on the Eras tour. That was the Long Live guitar. So when Speak Now, Taylor's version came out, the guitar, which lives in the Taylor exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame,
That I walked by.
didn't go in, went missing. And so it came out, she played Long Live on the guitar, and we were all like,
Uh-huh.
so the koi fish guitar is synonymous now with Long Live.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's got a whole section on my tree. It's like a whole Taylor section. I put them all in the same area.
I love that. I feel like, you've got a Midnight's ornament. Now you've got a Long Live. You've got a Swift Talk ornament. I forget what the other one is.
Glitter ball,
Oh, yeah, the Mirabelle.
mirror ball.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I know these things? I don't want to.
Here we are.
How
Every
long
year.
are we doing this podcast for?
Almost 4. It'll be 4 years this summer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of, the Kansas City Wags reality show is moving forward.
That's right.
They are filming, and it is official. There will be no Brittany Mahomes and no Taylor Swift.
What about a Sam Bennett?
Well, Sam Bennett, last I checked, was not dating a member of, was not a wife
Happily not.
and girlfriend
He doesn't make
or girlfriend.
no appearances, no just
he is not a wag
In
for
the
the Kansas
crowd.
City.
I have no ties.
okay.
No
Not
ties
yet.
to
No
Kansas City.
affiliation, no affiliation
Not
at all.
yet. He's not a wag.
Oh well.
Not in his wag era yet.
I've had a Wagyu.
Well, close. Kansas City makes sense, but not quite. And with that, we have to tie up a little bit of Taylor's accomplishments for 2024.
Here we are, tying together with an invisible string everything that Taylor Swift has done in 2024.
Well, not everything, because I don't have that kind of time. Jason will cut that off real quick.
She's taken 14,007,864 breaths. All right, what has she done?
It's very Rent inspired. Well, and I guess this is topical because we are going into Grammy season. She was the first person to win Album of the Year 4 times with Midnights, which leads me to believe she will not be winning it for
Dead
Tortured.
Poets.
Tortured.
Tortured.
Yeah, the Tortured Poets. There's no way. I can't see them. There's so many great albums. I just think she's going to get kind of pushed aside on this one, which is sad because it's a great album. But, Tortured Poets did get its flowers. It won all sorts of MTV Music Awards, all sorts of Billboard Awards. It became the most streamed album. It got the most streams in a single day on Spotify with 300 million streams the day it came out. Fastest to 1 billion streams on Spotify. Is still sitting nicely on top of the charts. Broke a record-setting, I think, 13 weeks at number 1 of the Billboard charts.
Wow.
And still kind of flip-flops back up there. She came off the Eras Tour, highest-grossing tour ever, $2 billion. She came off a whirlwind on, speaking of charts, all of her albums have charted. She's just sitting pretty going into 2025. And so I thought we could each give our prediction for one thing we think Taylor's going to do in 2025.
Ooh. What we think Taylor's going to do in 2025.
Yep.
Now, easy thing I could say is retire, but I can't say that.
You can say that.
Can't say
You can
that.
it's your prediction, what you think you want to do. It's up to
I
you.
think that after this tour, after this, I actually don't see Reputation happening in 2025.
Okay, hot take.
I see her going into she's gonna take on a bigger project that's outside of music. She's gonna either go and direct a full scale independent film, or she's going to score entire film.
She does have a directorial debut project in the works, so that's a solid prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Jason?
My actual prediction was she was going to be in a movie.
In a movie.
Well, she was in what was she in Amsterdam? She gets hit by the car. Smashing performance.
She was in
Really left an impression.
You say these things too quickly. I can't hit the drum machine.
Hit the brakes.
She also was in Cats, and she was in Valentine's Day. She's been in several movies.
Yeah, but you just asked me what a prediction was.
Yeah,
I think she'll be in another movie next year.
I'm into
film.
it.
She'll be in a film. I do think, though, she'll come out with a re-release of some sorts. She can't stay still. There's no way.
She's going to buy the rights to It Ends With Us from that company, and she's going to direct It Starts With Us, which is the sequel. That'll be 2026, though.
My mind is blown that you know what the sequel is called.
Dude, information, man. Why do we know all these things, Jason? Why do we know all these things?
You didn't know.
That's fine.
Why do I know all these things?
Yeah. Why do we know what we don't know that we know that we know?
Well, it's usually me shoving
Artificial
it down your throats,
intelligence.
AI.
Artificial intelligence, my friends.
But,
Seeping into our daily lives.
I think
.com.
Taylor is going to wrap up her re-records in 2025 and move on with a fresh slate. I think she's kind of at the point where the Eras Tour is buttoned up. She's got the last 2 that she doesn't own. I think she'll button up the last 2 re-records and maybe start thinking about what she wants to do for her next phase in music.
She's going to put out a country album and show Beyonce wow, it's really done.
I did watch the Beyonce Bowl. I watched the Beyonce Bowl. Gotta give Beyonce credit.
They put that up on Netflix, too?
It
was on something. It's
football
on some...
was on Netflix.
Prime,
On Sunday.
Amazon Prime.
No, it's Netflix.
Oh, maybe Netflix.
All I saw was her on the white Cadillac with the cowboy hat or the white car. That's all I saw.
Oh, I saw the whole thing. It was. She put a lot of Super Bowl halftime performances to shame with that.
I'm sure she did.
It was wild.
But I'm certain that if Taylor Swift put out a country album,
Oh yeah, it would.
she would float away.
Yeah.
And be like, Beyonce who?
Well, speaking of Taylor Swift country, we are heading back into our country Taylor era today. Speaking of albums that need to be re-recorded in country, we're in debut today.
Debut from the debutante.
Oh.
Yes, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. Taylor on Taylor.
Not quite Taylor's version of Taylor Swift, just Taylor Swift.
It's Taylor Swift.
So today we're doing Should Have Said No off debut. So we're going to hit pause, you hit pause, and we'll be right back. Well, Sam.
In the famous words of Jason Landry. No? Off the record? This is so Taylor. It's cool going back to debut and hearing how very, very different this person's, this young, talented 2006, 2005 singer-songwriter, getting her way through high school, writing everything down in math class, writing these songs, recording for the first time, and she sounds nothing like she does today.
Yeah. Or on any other album.
So, young Taylor's very trying to find her voice, right?
Yeah, I mean, she had to get her foot in the door somehow, and that got her foot in the door.
Definitely did. Sound like she's right from Tennessee.
Yeah. Not that Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania.
No, very far from just south of New England. It's the twang.
Yeah.
It's even crazier to listen to this type of music now and then listen to what they think is a country song today.
Oh, yeah.
With Shaboozey or Post Malone, because it's so rappy.
Yeah.
And it's so...
well, think about this, though. Think about that with the rappiness, because 2006 country,
well,
you're getting big and rich, save a horse.
It's completely crazy. Like, I was listening to some songs recently that I actually like, and they're like, it's this country. And I'm like, no, this is like an odd form of hip-hop rap or something. I don't understand. This is not... Like, my uncle loves country, and it's like, he ain't going to listen to Shaboozey or Post Malone. No way.
Well, wait. Those are pop country. There's subsets to this genre.
She is pop country.
She was pop country. She's like Dixie Chicks, Martina McBride country, Faith Hill country in this. Like, she knew that she could get a foot in the door. This was her best way of getting in. Like,
Get a little twang every line that you sang.
Of
Yeah.
course.
No.
I have nothing against that. I'm
No,
just
I know.
making a statement
But
about what I've been listening to lately.
what we've got today, and I don't necessarily think like Shaboozey and Post Malone are mile markers in country today.
It's crazy, though.
Because
Whoa.
they're coming from the pop world into country, a lot like Beyonce did. Like, you've still got like the Chris Stapletons and the Zach Bryans and the still like country.
A bunch of Australian guys that sing American country, yeah.
None of
Carl
those are
Urban's, Keith Urban's.
Keith Urban's Australian. That's the only one out of those who's Australian. But yes, okay.
But I mean, when you see these and then the jelly rolls, and you're looking at them, and you're going to Instagram, or no, you're going to iTunes to look up songs by country artists, and those three pop up, and they sound like something was not country. Like, this to me sounds like country
This is
from when
90s
I was
country,
listening 90s
Well,
country.
it sounds the most country for your choruses. Like, you get that fiddle going in there. But each verse is like that. The bass is leaving a lot of space in between the progression. Your drum's pretty poppy. You got like, it's almost like a steel string acoustic guitar going on in that. But then, like, when the fiddle roars in on the chorus and everything, and you have the banjo really plucking through, it sounds like it's supposed to be like that heavier hitting, rock-inspired country.
Dixie
Dun,
Chicks.
dun, dun, dun. But the verses are way more of that, like, early 2000s into mid 2000s, like that pop, it's like the cookie cutter pop of like most one-hit wonders for most of those songs, like for most of that era. It seems like this is like, this song essentially, I'm going to kind of switch gears. It's kind of like Boots Are Made for Walking.
Mm-hmm.
This is a talented singer taking on a slightly older persona. because this song is this is less high school and more like any woman. You should have said no. You're going to be here. I wouldn't have predicted you to be here on your knees begging for my forgiveness. Did I ever cross your mind when you were doing this? Like, that whole thing is way less high school, heart on my sleeve, romanticized, and more anyone.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Really?
I think this is very high school. Like,
Reminds me of Shania Twain
yeah,
song.
like Shania Twain, like you kind of like, you're like, who's better?
Shania Twain was a teenager?
No,
What are we talking about?
No, but like, I think that like she definitely drew inspiration from that. But I think this is very much like telling some kid off in front of their locker. Like, yeah, you should have said no. You could have still had me. It's that bravado that you really only have when you're in that, like, you've only freshly been hurt and you still think that like the world isn't any bigger than your high school. I think it's that like moment of, I'm the best thing that ever happened to you. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't have any of those adult neuroses. You haven't had that life where you're like, oh, like, what do I do with this? You can make those snap decisions and those snap, like, should have said no. You could have still had me. Like, I don't know. I don't think this is like an every woman, like, adult thing.
Oh,
I think
no, not every.
very,
Eddie.
Yeah, but I think this is very, like, teen rom-com.
Sure. This is
like, I don't see this being like, I see this being a high school musical song.
Yeah, but this is like Training Heels. This is like, that's why I said boots are made for walking. Like Nancy Sinatra, trying to follow in the footsteps of her father, but also make her own name. And it's like, it's young. So like 18, 19-year-old Nancy Sinatra when Boots Were Made for Walking came out. But that song right there is also that, you could easily say that that's young love. You could also say that it's a more mature or anyone.
These boots are made for walking. I'm just gonna walk all over you. Like, yeah. I mean, sure, I can see that. I think that this is very much just like, it's the beginning stages of Taylor's diss tracks of like, oh, you think you're gonna break my heart? Well, you can listen to that on the radio. Like, I think this is like one of the first ones. And this is a funny story because the album was like 2 days away from the masters being pressed. And she had this breakup happen. And she has said that she pulled this song out of the conversation she had with him. And she wrote it in 20 minutes and they recorded it overnight and they got it on the album right before it went to press. And it was her 5th single. It was her second #1 on country radio single off this album. It was the last single she had off this album before we went into Love Story. So if you go from Should Have Said No in Taylor discography to Love Story, which is an interesting comeback. And, it's also, the song is really praised by critics as one of like a deep cut Taylor.
Well, just what I'm thinking off the top of my head when it comes to debut, Drew, Teardrops on My Guitar,
Yeah.
Tim McGraw. Like, I'm thinking of like those singles or those songs that stuck. This song is blows it out of the water.
This was a great closing single for that album.
Like, period. Like, if this came out first, people would have been like, "Who the hell is this Taylor Swift?"
I think
It's
it
not
might
a bad
have
track.
lost. It's a great. I think for what it was and what this album is, it is a standout on debut, and I think it holds up in her discography.
Do we think that part of the hasn't quite happened yet? I haven't redebuted, is because if she's doing it now, it's almost like where some of these, it's probably been fun to go down memory lane, and it's fun to let's try just like a slight new spin on this. It's kind of going to be like a Taylor Swift impersonating Taylor Swift if she's trying to go back to that real what I thought country was or what I was trying to be with country. Like
Maybe.
if she starts singing with the twang again.
I mean, she sang a lot of these songs on the Eras tour through surprise songs, and so I think she can do it. I think it's also like a business decision. Like, debut is not something that a lot of people have gone back to. It's not a watershed moment album. It's not a Fearless. It's not a Red. It's not a 1989. It's not one of those big ones. So, and it doesn't surprise me that it is one of the last ones for her to do. And I've always kind of thought that it would either be her first one or her last one because she has nothing left to reclaim but her name.
And her reputation.
Yeah. That's all that's left. And we know that Reputation has been done. She talked about it in her Time Magazine Person of the Year. She's teased the vault song. So we know that these are just kind of hanging out. She's doing what she wants with them. She's figuring it out. She's got her time.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be very interesting to see what comes out on debut. Interesting to see how she does this again. And it's got to be kind of fun for her to get back in the studio and put her headphones on and be like, I remember doing this at 17 years old and like writing this in a flash and fighting for it to be on my album.
But also being like, when you're 15, 16, you have that band behind
She's like
you.
17, this one, yeah.
And like this song, you're playing this song, you're like, this is like, I'm freaking rocking.
Yeah.
And this is booming and this is great. And then you have songs like Florida. And like, it's such a huge epicness in comparison that it dwarfs. Like, this thing is.
Well, and we talk about this a lot, but you don't often have artists where you have so much discography to kind of call back to.
Sure.
I mean, we're at 11 studio albums, and like not talking about the re-records, but just like 11 albums of work that we're able to kind of come in and out of is crazy, because you really do get this like full-on genre switches throughout. And she's like the way she reinvents herself is crazy, because from really one segment to the next, like there's always, after a couple albums, a different.
Well, take a sip real quick. I don't want to train. I don't want to run over like the car in Amsterdam. Your thoughts on this when it comes to Taylor Swift, but I do have a question, because
Sure.
you just said it, the reinventing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Where Reputation is teased that it's already done. Has she teased that she's already done debut?
I don't think so. She might have.
Because I feel like that's kind of like a surreal thing of being like, you have constantly, like most artists, if they've branched out into something, Beyonce's just did it with country.
Mm-hmm.
You've had plenty of country artists that have done like a reggae album. You have rockers that have gone like gospel. You have people that have like constantly changed for an album their entire sound.
Mm-hmm.
It must be surreal to be like, yeah, I've done country, I've done pop country, I've done
Rock country.
rock country, and then I went full pop, and then I went to this like the new wave and cottage core, like all these things.
Well, I think.
Where the era tour was everything.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going back to re-release and going like, this is just when I was freaking country?
Well, I think it's interesting as an art from the artist perspective to look at her and be like, wow, she understands where music trends are going, but isn't following the trends. So it's interesting to watch her just kind of evolve her sound into what she's into and seeing where music goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she's clearly a fan of music, and you can see the influences of different artists that she works with and different genres that she's feeling, and, you know, who she's choosing to have as openers. And I'm very curious to see what she does if she does put out another album of new music, like what that looks like. Because is she kind of coming to the end of her electronic kind of national Bon Iver, Aaron Dessner, and then the Jack Antonoff stuff? Like, what's coming?
Like
What would be coming down the pipe?
The
And
mo-
like, it could be a full-on country. We could just kind of come back and circle back.
She could do an acoustic album, an all piano album.
An opera.
Her grandmother was an opera singer. It wouldn't surprise. I mean, she is at the point where she can put out whatever she wants, and we'll be like, wow,
Ska.
that was
She's
amazing.
going ska. She's bringing ska back.
I'm kind of hoping for some emo.
She's got like the Avril Lavigne gloves on and the
I'm into it.
pink. Yeah.
Let's go back a little emo. You know, Pink outsold Taylor in Australia in 2024.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I believe it,
I
though.
read that article today. That was an interesting tidbit.
She
played more shows there.
Just to ride on that wave for a second, the workout routine that Pink does when she had, I don't know if she still does it, but they would pull her she'd have like the cables on her sides, and they would lift her up over the stadium, just like shoot her up like a rocket, and she'd be flying around while she's singing.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed like, oh, if you want to be able to do that, your diaphragm has to be this strong. You have to. There's a person that stands on her stomach when she's lying on the ground, and she sings full out.
Yeah, she asked, actually, I watched a video about it the other day. She says, she asked this lady, she's like, I want to do that. And she's like, for you to do that, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to tip you upside down, and I'm going to punch you in your stomach, and you got to sing.
Yeah.
And she did it. It was pretty incredible. I'll give her props for that.
To put on shows like Pink is putting on, like Taylor's putting on, you have to have these. I mean, Taylor does her whole, to prepare for the Eras Tour, she ran on the treadmill singing all of the songs straight.
Well, yeah, you have to also
Your
keep in mind,
endurance, your diaphragm, your breath work, like
you're also on like this
cardio.
Michael Phelps type of diet. You're on like a 4,000 calorie a day if you're trying to maintain that energy. Not to say that she's on like the Michael Phelps diet. I'm just mean like she's eating her greens. She's eating the greens.
White wine hits different when you're on tour.
I wish I had some wine.
We all wish we had some wine.
No, we're doing it midday. We should have our cocktails while we do this.
White wine.
Is there a day drinking song somewhere?
She sings about drinking all the time.
Have you listened to Debut? They're all
Drinking in cornfields. No, she doesn't start drinking.
drinking in corn. All right, hold on. Let's write this out.
No, let's not.
There is a Pennsylvania Christmas tree farm girl who goes to the country, and she's like, I can't wait to be in the country. What's your dream? Be a country star, do this? No, I want to drink in a cornfield.
I mean, same.
The deep cut of Taylor is she becomes a vintner and a brewer.
To circle this back to the song. While I was doing my research today, there was this fan theory on Reddit, and they were like, we think that Taylor wrote this about the Rachel, Ross, Chloe dynamic on Friends when Rachel, that I was on a break. It's not. Taylor has been like, this is a conversation that I had, like, but it fits. If you look at it and you're like, huh. So I thought I would leave you with that little piece of
I did see
information.
someone made an Instagram or a TikTok where they cut pieces from Friends.
Oh,
and their sentences that she used in song lyrics.
yes.
She's
And
a
I'm
Friends
like,
fan.
oh man.
Ripped straight
Yeah,
from her
basically. Almost
DVD
almost
box
verbatim.
sets. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know where inspiration will strike.
Yeah.
So I thought I would leave you with that fun fact.
Did you know that the what's the line in red? Da da da. You were there.
It was rare. I
You were
remember
there.
it.
It
all
was
too
rare.
well.
I remember all too well. Was actually inspired by Joey's head being stuck in the turkey because the turkey wasn't cooked. Full on. That's facts. That's facts. Prove me wrong. Listen, prove me wrong.
I'm going to look into this. We'll be back next week. We're going to make a retraction. On that note,
Each and every week, we roll the Jillian Petruzziello. Happy New Year to you and your fellow Die. We're going to roll for an album. We're going to roll for a song. The only album, best to both of our knowledge still, that we don't have available is Reputation, because we've gone through it.
mm-hmm.
So let's roll for something fun. Ooh, speaking of turkeys, we're going back to red. Number 4.
Okay. Red, what you got for me?
Let's see here. What's the loneliest number?
1 or 20 if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
How do you know this?
I went.
You went to
I've
where?
been watching Big Bang Theory.
TV time. Okay, 1. It is a 1. Yeah. How is 20 the loneliest number?
I don't know. There's something about 20 in Dungeons and Dragons, and that's a Dungeons and Dragons dice.
I don't know anything about Dungeons
So this
and
is what I
Dragons.
got.
Critical success is what you call
Sure. Anyway, State of Grace.
State of Grace. Okay. 4-1 is State of Grace from Red.
Yeah. You okay over there?
I'm just trying to be like, wait, is that a dig on people that play D&D because we're lonely? But no, we're not lonely if we're playing at a table with other people. Unless I'm just going on this deep
Anyway,
nerd tangent in my mind.
thank you so much for listening, watching today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
If you haven't already, like, subscribe, follow, rate, review, tell all of your friends.
Yeah. Let us know what it is you like about the podcast. Feel free to share some cool info, links to Kait when she's doing all of her research. Feel free to, send me a wishbone if you think that's all I have for my fan theories about friends to be connected to anything. Is that a flightless bird or is it a fun fact? You decide.
I think it's a flightless bird, but we shall see. Thanks again for listening. I'm Kait the Swiftie.
And I'm the guy who's also here, Not So Swift Sam. Happy New Year's.
We'll be back next week. Thanks again for listening.
I'm just really caught up on the whole Lonely 20 thing.
Okay, we'll get into that later. Thanks again. Bye.